So, I love Star Stable, and I think that the team is currently doing a really good job with the game. There's been a lot of good updates lately, and they seem to genuinely care about what the players think. But there's this one thing that is driving me and seemingly every other player mad, which we really need to sit down and talk about in a serious matter. And that something is the chat. I understand that this game is primarily made for children, and that the team therefore has certain rules and restrictions that have to be followed. Swear words and other forms of adult language have to be censored in the game, because otherwise it would not be suitable for children. Players with bad intentions have to be punished and removed from the game to protect children from any harm they may be prone to. This is the reason why the chat filter is the way it is, and the team has defended it countless of times and seemed unwilling to change it. Fair enough. However, I need them to understand that although their intentions are good, the chat has to be changed. Not just for practical reasons, but also for safety reasons. Because this is not just about the filter being annoying for most players. There are more important issues and side effects that have to be addressed. First of all, the chat filter promotes other forms of social media. Seriously, every single riding club I've seen in the game requires for you to have some sort of social media in order to join. Like Discord, TikTok, Instagram, the kind of social media that kids use these days. I'm old. Especially Discord has become a social requirement in SSO because the in-game chat makes it hard to communicate with each other. The amount of censored words is absolutely ridiculous, to the point where most of us can't even say our own character names. It's impossible to have a friendly conversation in the game because half the conversations get censored for seemingly no reason whatsoever. Most of these words can't even be traced back to something remotely negative, and I don't understand why they're censored. It makes the chat so insanely unattractive that even though we're not allowed to ask for social media or any form of contact information, players practically are forced to do so in order to communicate with each other. Even though words related to contact information and social media are censored, players always find a way to get the message through. For example, by purposely misspelling them, using code words, or explain it with other words. No matter how many things get censored, the players will always find a new way to add each other on social media, simply because the in-game chat has been deemed as useless for communication. Which leads me to the second problem, which is that it doesn't work. People are breaking the rules all over the place. So, do you really think that this is going to stop people with bad intentions? Like I said, players will always find a way to get the message through, and this goes for everyone, no matter the intention. I've noticed that players have gotten really good at understanding messages that sound confusing because with so many censored words, we have to think outside the box when it comes to communicating. I have witnessed a lot of mean comments, people acting creepy and straight up bullying in the game chat without them using bad words at all. It's all about the context. Censoring bad words doesn't help if you speak in a bad context. And the same goes for contact information. It genuinely scares me how fast people give away their social media in this game. As a grown woman myself, I experience getting asked about this information all the time in the game, from entirely random people who I've never seen or talked to before. I don't know their age and they don't know mine. They never ask any questions beforehand. Now imagine how easy it is for people with bad intentions to gain personal information about young, unknowing players. It's a terrifying thought, but with the way things work in the game, it seems way too easy to trick this information out of someone, because they are desperate for alternative ways to communicate, and everyone else seems to be doing the same thing anyway. This ties up to the third point I want to make, which is that it targets people with good intentions. There's countless of stories out there about people having friendly conversations in the game and then suddenly getting a chat ban without saying anything wrong. How does that happen, and how can the team justify this? When good people are getting punished without breaking a single rule, you know that the system is messed up. The social aspect plays a very important role in online games, but when simply using the chat comes with the risk of suspension, it is directly discouraging people from using it. How come this game is made for children and yet you're barely allowed to misspell anything? Do they seriously believe that every child in the world writes flawlessly? And what about people with dyslexia? Aren't they allowed in the chat? And yeah, I know that those arguments might sound like a stretch because obviously they are not trying to discriminate against people who don't write that well. But those are still the ones that are affected the most by this chat filter. And I can only imagine how annoying it must be to have the game constantly mute you just because you misspell things. Innocent people should not be punished for something they did not do. So yeah, things need to change. Of course, I understand that it might be challenging to create a good system for communication in a kids game, and that some of these problems are straight up impossible to solve entirely. No matter how good the system is, there will always be people breaking and bending the rules, and there's not much that can be done about it. Still, I genuinely believe that the system can be improved in a way that reduces the frequency of these problems and gives an overall better chat experience for everyone in the game. So here are my suggestions. First of all, we really need a report player feature, which I know is already in development, and I'm really hoping that it's good because it is very much needed. We need to be able to report people with bad intentions and for the team to review the situation and decide what to do. In addition to this, we should also have chat monitoring, which I know is hard to pull off because of the amount of players, but if they could pull this off, it would be so much better than the system we have today. If the team could see what was going on in the chat, it would be much easier for them to know when they should take action against the player. Maybe they could pick up some special people in the game, such as the Star Stable ambassadors, and allow them to monitor the chat on the specific server and take action if needed. I think that the team can sit down and put their heads together to find a solution to this. I mean, if we did have chat monitoring combined with a report player feature, we would have ourselves a pretty safe, fair and friendly game. And of course, most importantly, we need an improved chat filter. I heard someone say that they are using a whitelist, and if that is correct, they absolutely need to change that and use a blacklist instead, because there are just too many words in the world to fit into a whitelist. I mean, go ahead team, censor the swear words and the adult language, but for the love of God, let us have regular conversations. Stop encouraging people to give away their social media and stop punishing those who actually use your chat. I can't stress this enough. If you genuinely want players to use your chat, then you have to make it more user-friendly. Point blank period. So dear Star Stable, if you are watching this, I'm talking to you and I'm telling you to stop the madness. I'm telling you to listen to your players and to take action. This has been going on for way too long. The chat needs to be fixed and it needs to be fixed now. And that would be the end of my rant. Thank you for watching. Bye.